Hello friends, and welcome to Top of the Stack MTG. So I've got two important things to talk about tonight. Number one is how surprised and excited I am about the growth of the channel, about all of you wanting to watch and caring at all. Wednesday night, when I put up the last video, this is like midnight, I was literally thinking to myself, I have about 70 subscribers. I should start thinking about what I want to do to try to hit 100. And then, of course, I put the video up, and over the last 3 days or so, it's just been crazy. I've been trying to respond to all the comments. Every time I check, the numbers just go up and up and up. At this point, I'm at like over 250 subscribers. The video's been watched like 6,500 times. It's amazing, and I'm so thankful and happy to be a part of such an amazing community. The Magic community, Magic the Gathering community, is incredible, and I'm very proud to be a part of that. So thank you very much. Secondly, I want to talk about Magic Digital Next. I've put together a list of things that I would love to see in Magic Digital Next. I don't want to say things that it definitely needs, because some of the things I'm going to talk about it already does, and that's a good thing. I want that kind of stuff to continue, and I don't want to say that it's what everybody wants, because I know there's things that I'm going to miss that you guys want that I'm not going to mention, and that's incredibly important. Everybody's needs need to be at least addressed, if not met, of course. Good. So let's give this a go. This is a big subject. So first up, for me, Magic Digital Next needs to completely update Magic the Gathering Online. It needs a whole new look. It's clear that it was created a long time ago. You can tell just by looking at it. It needs, I guess, a facelift. I don't really like that, but it needs a go-over, right? It needs to be updated desperately. Even the look, because you want to appeal to new players. And if they're moving through the internet and they're seeing things like Hearthstone and even duels, if they're seeing these kinds of things, and then they look at Magic the Gathering Online, it just doesn't compete. Even though it's miles better than anything else that's out there, it can't compete with that initial impression. That first impression is so important. So they need to update the look. Of course, there needs to be ways to win packs as you play. We want to make sure that if that's not in there, that it gets in there. It of course is in there, but we want it to continue and perhaps improve. I know that the chests that they currently use get kind of mixed reviews. I don't imagine that they're terrible. But if you're looking to collect a specific set, let's say, or you want to only get cards for Modern, let's say, or something, you should be able to compete for the prizes that you want. It doesn't have to just be random over the last 25 years, although that might be appealing to some. So that's an interesting one. Either it needs to just keep growing the way it is, or a little bit of tweaking, perhaps. And that's for ways to win packs, to get cards without just purchasing. Now, that being said, you also need to be able to purchase them, of course. They should have a vibrant store, all different kinds of packs, and ways to have different backgrounds and have different avatars, and all kinds of great stuff. People love that. They want to specialize their game. So of course, a very vibrant store would be great. In this category, I believe also falls codes. It would be amazing if there were codes on packs so that when you bought an actual physical pack of Magic cards, you could put the code into the computer and you would get a pack from that same set off the digital store. I really believe that's the way it has to be. It is very difficult to get 4 copies of each card, of physical, actual cards. Trying to get 4 copies of each so that you can build decks is expensive. It's a tough thing to do. And to increase it to 8 just to be able to play online as well is really unacceptable. We have to be able to, and this is a crazy thing, I believe it means they'll probably raise the price of packs. If they put codes on these packs, I'll bet they'll be $5 a pop. And honestly, I think I prefer that. I would prefer paying more for physical packs and getting a code rather than just trying to maintain purchasing 2 collections. It's too much. It's way too much to have to buy twice as much Magic. So for me, a price increase on packs is okay. I am interested in what you guys think, though, of course. That's a big, crazy one. It has to be on multiple platforms. All of this falls under updating the whole thing. It has to be on multiple platforms. We need to be able to play it on Mac and PC. We need to be able to play it on tablets. I'll even go so far as to say phones. I've had a very difficult time trying to play Magic on phones because they're so small. It's almost like you have to redesign the program so that you can play it differently because it's too small. So phones are kind of tough, and I get that. I understand, but at least tablets, at least. And that's not even touching on Xbox and PS4. It's got to be on that stuff. I mean, sitting in front of a computer, if you need really high-tech, quick response from a computer, then I can understand not bothering to put it onto an Xbox or a PS4. But this is a card game. There is no reason you need some kind of high-tech $5,000 machine to play a card game. This should be everywhere. Easily. We should absolutely be able to sit on our couch, have a beer, and play some Magic with somebody in some other state. That should not be an issue at all. And I know you could probably do that on a PC, but I wouldn't be comfortable with, trying to, no. It should just be everywhere. It honestly should be everywhere. There's different type of players everywhere, and they can appeal to all of them if they could just be multi-platform. Good. Yeah, so look, ways to win packs, codes, multiple platforms. Yeah, you got to have a great store. Packs with having codes and avatars. Good. The second very important thing I think they need to think about is ways to view your collection. Some players really enjoy looking at the cards, and they're going to want to do that. And I believe that browsing your collection is a very, very important piece of a successful game. You should be able to view your collection in a binder if you want. You should be able to turn pages. You should be able to choose, do you want 3 pockets in the binder or 4 pockets in the binder? Do you only want to have your rares and mythics in there, or do you want to see the whole collection? You can go really extreme with this. You should be able to just look at the art. You should be able to zoom in and look at the beautiful art that they pay money for, right? You should be able to click on the artist and look at all their other art. You should be able to go to their websites. Flavor text, right? They should have a whole bunch of flavor text stuff. And who wrote the flavor text? You should be able to meet the flavor text team, right? And jumping off of that, you should be able to meet the design team. You should be able to see people talking about their favorite cards and what it took to design this and how they feel it works best. There are so many cool things you can do with the info that's on these cards that I think it's a resource they haven't even touched on, is how to view your collection to appeal to a specific group of people who play Magic, of course. Good. Number 3 for me is decks. Number 1, you should be able to build a ton of decks, of course. If you have 4 copies of a card, you should be able to put those 4 copies into 50 different decks. I mean, we already do it right now, right? There's always that, ooh, I'm going to try my Thopter deck, but give me a sec while I get my blah, 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 and put it in there. You know what I mean? You're constantly pulling cards out of one deck and putting them in another deck, back and forth. So when you're playing a video game, you suddenly don't have to worry about that. It's incredible. You can just build whatever deck you like because you own the card. So you should be able to build many, many decks. You should have deck boxes that you put them in. You should be able to call those decks whatever you like. You should be able to pick which one that you want to play with and enter, whatever you're going to enter. You should be able to pick whatever deck you can use, and as long as it's legal for whatever you're entering, pick the deck and then go ahead and use that. And then if you want to try again with a different deck, that's fine. Go ahead and just pick a different one. Deck boxes with different art on them would be totally fun. You should be able to have your deck evaluated. I feel like this is a very important thing, and they touch on this. I know they do. I know you can see your mana curve, and you can look at the power of each of the cards or the toughness of each of the cards, but they can go way beyond that. You could get into Timmy stuff. What would Timmy think of your deck? You could get into Johnny stuff. What would Johnny think of your deck? Or Spike, or even Vorthos. I don't know how far they can go, but I feel like the further the better. It would be great to have Spike evaluate your deck and say, this deck is horrible, what are you thinking about? And then flip around and have, say, a Vorthos evaluate your deck and say, the flavor in this deck is amazing, right? I think it'd be super fun. I think it's an important area that they should kind of look into. You should be able to play the computer. This way you can test your deck. You can really get to know the thing before you run out and play actual players. I think that that's important. It's not so important for me. I'm not obsessed with winning, but I can totally see how a Spike is going to want to give it a test run before they go out. I get it. I totally get it, and I think that that's important, and they should think about that. You should be able to test different hand draws. You should be able to just see, okay, what's my first 7? Nice, let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Just to test your mana curve, or to test your how much mana you have in the deck. Do you have enough? Is your mana fixing good enough? I think all this stuff is important for deck construction. One other thing I wanted to say about collections, back to the second thing, and that's about trading. I think you should also be able to have a trade binder, or however you like to view them, a box of cards you want to trade, or whatever system is set up. But you need to be able to trade cards in an easy way and a fun way. You should just be able to say, I have this card, I will trade it for this card, or for these 2 cards, or even anything that is of equivalent value. Whatever you pick, you should be able to pick. And then people can just browse people's trade binders. That should be everywhere. And I do understand that if trading becomes easier than purchasing, they might start losing money. People will buy less packs. They'll just browse trade binders. And I totally get that. And I don't know what the fix is, you know, but I do believe that trading is super fun and something that needs to be there. It needs to be there. Okay, good. First 3 down. On to number 4. The game must be supported. It is mandatory that there is an easy way to report bugs and that those bugs receive attention. There needs to be constant updates. There needs to be constant descriptions of what the updates were and what updates will be coming in the future. A really, really supportive team that is just dedicated to making the game better. And that also includes suggestions. Beyond just, I can't make this work, or this thing keeps glitching. It's got to be, we should try this, or we should have a little bit of this. All of that should be considered part of that support team. It will be essential for making the game competitive and keeping it competitive in this world market that is the internet, right? Essential. The support is key. Now, on to the last thing. To me, this is the most important. But it doesn't have to be for everybody. This is just for me. Okay? Wizards of the Coast released I guess it's a document, this sheet. I have it pulled up on the computer over here. I'm, of course, going to put it up on the screen. But I have it pulled up on the computer over here. And it lays out the player profiles. So it talks about prospective players. And next to that is this blue box that's labeled duels. Okay? So, like, new players should play duels. And then in the middle, it says Magic Digital Next. And it's this big yellow box. And it says casual players and competitive players. And they're sort of next to the yellow box. And then it says pro players. And it's got Magic the Gathering Online. And that's another blue box. Now, the yellow box happens to have arrows that go up and an arrow that goes down, which doesn't make any sense to me at all. I think they're just trying to look clever, but it's a very strange thing to suggest that if you do Magic Digital Next, you might go back down to a prospective player and try to play duels, which is just silly. Duels to me is crazy. Duels is not Magic. It's pretty dang close. It uses Magic cards. The rules are only slightly different. It's only slightly simplified. But it is not Magic. The only reason anyone plays duels is because they cannot play Magic the way that they want to play video games. If you play on the Xbox, you can't play Magic. So all you get is the video game, not Magic. This is duels. It's not Magic, but it's kind of close, so have fun. And a lot of people do have a lot of fun because it's almost Magic. And Magic is awesome. But believe me, if they could play Magic on the Xbox, no one would play duels. So there is no need for duels. The idea that a new player will just have no clue about how to actually tackle Magic, so they need a not Magic video game to learn on, then they can slowly move up to Magic, is just ridiculous. Magic is very simple to learn. It's very difficult to get good at. I totally grant you that. But it's so simple to learn. It's ridiculous to think that somebody needs training wheels to get started. And the thing that terrifies me the most about all of this is Magic Digital Next is in the middle. as if they're going to make another not Magic video game and not change Magic the Gathering Online at all, which I think would be horrible. So my number one pick for things that I really want to see for Magic the Gathering Online is all of these things need to happen to Magic the Gathering Online, not to some not Magic video game that eventually funnels you up into Magic the Gathering Online, and therefore it doesn't need any of these updates because you could just do all that with Magic Duels anyway. Magic Duels looks great. That doesn't mean Magic the Gathering Online shouldn't. It should look great, really great, and they should scrap the other one. There's no need for it. They're literally wasting resources by trying to make a not Magic game and a Magic game. It's just silly. Okay, so that's Magic Digital Next. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a great night. Thank you for all the amazing comments. I've been trying to respond to everybody. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up, but I'm going to keep trying. I am definitely reading everything. I will try to continue to respond. Thank you for subscribing. Over 250. I don't even know what to say. It's amazing. And yeah, please leave more comments. Please continue to subscribe. Hit the like button if you enjoy the video, and have a great night.